Okay, we're in volume 9 of the Bible story by Arthur S Maxwell. I get my mind right one of these times. We are in part 1. Whoa, this is a real, almost like a photograph here. Okay, it says it's by Harry Anderson. I mean, the lines are so crisp on here. And the model, yeah, she kind of looks like a dwarf. The little girl that he's carrying kind of looks like a dwarf in the face. So, okay, and whoa, I like the way oh, this is definitely oil. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm impressed by it. And there's the painting. I mean, it looks so crisp, the way it's painted. Okay, and it says, Jesus loved children. Their simplicity, their trust, their simple faith were qualities that made them dear to the heart of God. It is it is with childlike faith he wishes us to come to him. And the story is part 1, story 1, friend of children. Okay. He may have been 4. He may have been 5. I don't know. Nobody knows. His name may have been Amos or Enoch or Benjamin. Again, I don't know. Nobody knows. But for a brief hour, he was the most favored boy in all the world. Jesus picked him out of the crowd of children and told everybody around to come like this little boy, or they would never enter the kingdom of love. What a dear, sweet boy he must have been. So kind, loving, and obedient. The kindness in his heart must have been shining from his face, and Jesus saw it. Excuse me. He have been one of the he couldn't have been one of the rough kind, rushing around shouting and whistling and making a nuisance of himself. He didn't he couldn't have been shoved, shoving the other boys about or teasing the little girls and making them cry. No, he was just standing there quietly and respectfully, looking up at Jesus with wide open eyes, watching everything he did and listening. Yeah, it says listening to every word. So he said, so happy to be near Jesus. Then he heard his name called. The Bible says Jesus called the little boy unto him. John, he said, and the little boy's name could have been John, couldn't it? Perhaps here, couldn't it? Please come here for a moment. I need you. Little John, blushing and smiling, ran toward the master, while all the other children pressed near to see what would happen next. Then perhaps, with one hand placed gently on little John's head, Jesus said to the grown-ups who listened to him, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. His disciples just asked him who would be the greatest in his kingdom, and this was his answer. The kingdom of heaven is for the humble, the gentle, the kind, the unselfish. Unless the disciples stop wanting the best things and the best places for themselves, they would never see heaven. Whosoever humbles himself like this child, Jesus said, he will be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Then Jesus went on to say something that was on his heart, and there was a sternness in his voice, as he wanted the grown-ups near to lead grown-ups never to lead a child to sin. Should anyone do so, he said, if it was better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the deepest of the sea. At this, little John and the other children must have thought, how wonderful to have somebody who cares for us like this. Why, not only is Jesus our friend, he is our very own big brother. They became more sure of this as Jesus went on to say to the grown-ups, see that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you that in heaven their angels always behold the faces of okay. For I tell you that in heaven their angels always behold the face of my Father who is in heaven. Then he added, it is not the will of my Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. How dearly Jesus must love children. Nothing happens to any boy or girl in the world, but it is known to him and the angels. If anyone starts bullying one of his little ones or tempting him to do wrong, he had better look out. Jesus will deal with him like all wonderful big brothers that he Jesus will deal with him like the wonderful big brother that he is. You can imagine how the children, hearing Jesus say such things, coming to love him more and more. He was their hero. Yeah. They were ready to do anything, he said, and follow him anywhere that he wanted. And then it has angels on this page, and then Jesus touching the little boy's head on this way. And it's not the real Jesus, it's just the illustration. This is what it looks like for both pages. And there, he's touching the little boy's head, using him as an example. And then, of course, there's the angels. And they got a 1920 hairstyle. Ha. Yeah, the 1920 hairstyle. Huh. Okay. Ooh, this is a big story. Okay. And it says, mothers loved him too, because he loved their children. They brought their babies to him and begged him just to put his hands on them and bless them. The Bible tells of one such happy scene. Boys and girls were crowded around Jesus as usual. There was much fun and innocent laughter, as there always is when children get together. Then mothers began to come with their little ones in their arms. Blessed, bless my little Jacob, I can hear one say. And my little Rebecca, says another. And my precious Daniel. Please, Jesus, put your hands on him. Jesus smiled as he cuddled the babies in his arms, whispered gently to one after another, bless you, darling, bless you, little sweetheart. To the mothers, I'm sure, he said, and mind you're bringing them up right, and mind you bringing them up right. Okay. Be sure to teach them to love God and keep his commandments. Then suddenly somebody spoiled it all. Get away, one of the disciples was saying. Leave the master alone. Can't you see he's tired? He has more important things to do than bless your children. Get away. Hurt and disappointed, the mothers and children looked around, wondering what they had done wrong. Maybe some of them started to go away. Then Jesus spake up. Yes, spoke up. He told them to stay and rebuked the disciples for acting like this. Suffer the little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for uh, for of such is the kingdom of heaven, he said. Sorry. Let the children alone, don't stop them from coming to me, is the way the other translation reads. What a nice, kind thing for him to say. And he hasn't changed a bit since then. He said it on the far off afternoon. He says it now today. Don't stop the children coming to me. He wants every boy and girl in all the world to come to him, no matter where you live or how you dress or what language you speak. Your invitation is to His invitation is to you. Just come, and you may be sure He will never turn any child away. And then it has, it says a Herbert Rudin, and it's all at the bottom. Different people. Give me a second. I gotta sneeze. Oh, okay. It was gonna come, but then it stopped. Ah, itchy nose. Okay. And this is what the painting at the bottom has. See, got one disciple trying to push everybody away, and Jesus still hugging on kids. All right. Okay, and then here's the finishing of the story. It says, but what did Jesus mean when he said, of such is the kingdom of heaven? Are all children ready for heaven? Oh, no, indeed. I don't think of some who are, oh, no, indeed. I can think of some who are so naughty and rude and disobedient they would turn heaven into a madhouse if they should ever get there. Others are so destructive they would tear the New Jerusalem to pieces in no time at all if Jesus would let them in. Jesus was talking of sweet, innocent, unspoiled children when he said, "Of such is the kingdom of heaven." He had in his mind those dear boys and girls who respect and obey their parents and who try to be helpful and unselfish at home and at school. Heaven will make up, heaven will be made up of people like this. And if you're not like this now, and if we, okay, rewind. And if we are not like this now, okay, I'm reading it and it doesn't sound right. Then we must change and be left out. That is why Jesus wants us to come to him so he can change us. He wants to make us kind, patient, tender-hearted, and sweet-tempered as he was as a boy. And then it's got these kids dressed in uh, white robes, in a field of flowers, and it says Harlan. And this is the illustration. Make sure I got my finger out of the way. Be careful with the book because it hadn't been open either in 50 years or 70 years. These books have only been. Okay. And that was the end of part one, story one. So we're going to take the break and then I'll be back with you. Whoa. This page is kind of torn. Oh, it looks so bad. But we'll talk to you. I'll be back with a little bit. See you all.